So what really happens when someone decides to spend the night alone in a place that everyone else is just too scared to even go near? Well, we're about to find out. We're going to deconstruct a vlogger's absolutely terrifying overnight investigation piece by piece to really get what he went through. Let's jump in.
I mean, that's the real question here, isn't it? This isn't just about trying to find ghosts on camera. It's a genuine test of your own limits. Can you keep it together when your own mind starts playing tricks on you in a place that's famous for scaring people away?
And there you have it, straight from the source. The mission is simple: survive. He's not just poking around with a flashlight. He's planting a flag and challenging whatever is in this house with a pretty serious reputation.
Okay, so first up, the setup. Before we even think about going inside, you gotta understand the backstory of this place. Because with stories like these, the history, that's what lays the groundwork for all the fear. So what's the big deal with this house?
The first thing you need to know is this number, 15. 15 years. That's how long a local resident says this house has been sitting empty, completely abandoned. Just think about that for a second. A decade and a half. That is a long, long time for spooky stories to grow.
And here's where it gets really interesting. 5. The legend goes that 5 different families have tried to make a home here, and every single one of them has fled, claiming something paranormal was going on. So our guy isn't just walking into some creepy old house. He's walking into a place with a documented track record of, well, failure.
So the rules are set. He has to make it from midnight all the way to 7 a.m. It seems straightforward, but that means pushing through the absolute darkest, quietest hours of the night in a place that's already chased away 5 entire families. The clock is officially ticking.
All right, on to the rising action. The challenge has begun, he's inside. Let's look at what happened right at the beginning, those first few moments after he crossed the threshold, where you can feel the entire vibe just shift. And boom, right away, we see the 2 types of things he's dealing with. On one side, you've got the tech, his EMF meter, which ghost hunters believe detects paranormal energy, and it's going nuts right at the door. But on the other side, you've got something you can't measure, his own body telling him something's off, that sudden feeling of being weighed down.
And it wasn't just that heavy feeling, nope. As he walks into one of the rooms, he gets hit with this sudden wave of dizziness, totally out of nowhere. So right from the get-go, he's getting it from both sides. His gear is lighting up, and his own senses are screaming that something is wrong.
Now let's talk about the clues of a life just left behind. Beyond the creepy feelings and weird readings, what did he actually see? Because the stuff left behind really starts to paint a sad picture of why people might have left in such a rush.
Just look at this list. A single kid's shoe, old school books, a spice grinder, all these little pieces of a normal life, just frozen in time, covered in dust. But that handwritten prayer, man, that one is chilling. It makes you wonder, who wrote it, and what exactly were they praying to be protected from?
And then he starts hearing things, not just the usual house creaks. He keeps hearing what he describes as the faint voices of children. But here's the interesting part. He's not entirely convinced himself.
And you know, this is what I find so compelling about his investigation. He's constantly having this debate in his own head. On the one hand, yeah, it sounds like kids' voices inside a haunted house. But on the other, he's actively trying to debunk it himself. The neighboring houses are pretty close, and sound can travel in weird ways when it's dead silent. He's questioning everything.
So he could maybe explain away some of the faint sounds. But there was one event, one moment, that really stood out as the climax of the whole night. A sound so loud, so clear, that it pretty much shattered any ambiguity. So after hours of these strange feelings and faint noises, what was the one thing that he just couldn't dismiss? What was the absolute peak of the night's weirdness?
His own words sum it up perfectly. Forget the whispers, forget the dizzy spells. The one thing that truly got to him was a solid, physical, undeniable sound. Brother, the sound of wood falling. And he is absolutely certain this wasn't some noise from the street. He describes it as a loud, distinct crash that echoed, something he was positive came from inside that empty house, with him. Of everything that happened, this is the one moment he just can't find a rational explanation for.
All right, so after that massive crash around 4 a.m., the whole energy of the night just changes. This isn't really an investigation anymore. Now it's purely about survival. It's about gritting your teeth and just making it through those last few hours until the sun comes up.
And this timeline just lays out the whole journey perfectly.
You can see it all kicks off just after midnight. Then, bam, the action peaks around 4 a.m. with that crash. The real turning point, though, is at dawn when the call to prayer starts. And finally, freedom at 7:04 a.m. It's a perfect story arc. Tension, climax, and then finally relief. And this is just such a powerful turning point. For him, hearing the Fajr, the morning call to prayer, that's not just a sound, it's a signal. It means the sun is rising, the night is finally breaking, and he has almost made it. It's that first sign that the outside world is still there.
Which brings us to the very end, the resolution. After all the weird feelings, the voices, and that one gigantic crash, did he actually pull it off?
And the answer is yes. He did it. At 4 minutes past 7 in the morning, he walks out into the daylight. He finished the challenge, staying the whole night and doing what 5 other families apparently couldn't.
So what are we left with? We've walked through all the evidence, the EMF spikes, the dizziness, the voices, and that one impossible to ignore crash. So, was the house truly haunted? Or was this just a case of the mind playing tricks on a guy, all alone in the dark? He survived the night for sure, but the mystery of what's really going on in that house, well, that's still very much there.